Hello, welcome to the March 2019 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. I'm Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. The State Revenue Estimating Conference, or REC, met on March 15th and made a minor adjustment to the existing net revenue estimate for the current fiscal year 2019. The expected rate of revenue growth for the year, excluding transfer revenue, is 4.8%. Taking a look at how the net revenue situation looks through the end of March, we see that on a cash fiscal year basis, net revenue growth is $154 million and 2.8%, on the surface well below the expected 4.8%. Digging into the revenue numbers, we must first convert the cash year amounts to a fiscal year basis. This step involves subtracting $567 million from fiscal year 18 and $578 million from fiscal year 19 receipts. These amounts represent money deposited after June 30 in each of those years that was determined through the annual accrual process to belong to the just ended fiscal year. This adjustment leaves us with 2.9% growth. The next adjustment takes into account calendar year and transaction date differences between the two fiscal years. This year, March 30th and March 31st fell on a weekend, while last year just March 31st did. By falling on a weekend, a day's normal deposits will reach the general fund on Monday, and in this case, Monday will be part of April's receipts. The adjustment is not large because the end of March does not involve any significant due dates, but $8.6 million in gross receipts was deposited last March 30th. Also, the state transfers $6 million each year from general fund withholding receipts to the Workforce Development Fund. This year, the second half of this transfer, or $3 million, occurred in March. Last year, the second half of the annual transfer occurred in May. This will disadvantage fiscal year 19 year-over-year comparisons through the end of May. With the calendar and transaction date adjustments, year-to-date net revenue growth is 3.2%. From here, the adjustment process becomes somewhat speculative, as Iowa is in the middle of the tax return filing and processing season. Last year, individual income tax estimate payments were unusually high in December and January due to taxpayer reaction to major federal tax changes. This resulted in taxpayers paying some of their tax year 2017 state income tax liabilities several months earlier than normal. This situation did not repeat for tax year 2018. So those taxpayers will be satisfying their state income tax liability on a more normal schedule this year. The result should be increased payments with tax returns and decreased income tax refunds when compared to last year. As the tax return season is well underway, it is hard to say just what this impact has been through the end of March. For this explanation, I estimate that $80 million of the adjustment remains to be realized in April and May through tax return transactions in those 2 months. The final adjustment that should be considered is the pace of income tax refund issuance this year. This chart showing individual income tax refunds totals for the tax return season so far, meaning February 1st through March 31st, shows that the total amount issued is within a few million dollars of last year's total. So for this item, I will consider the adjustment to be zero. The actual change in individual income tax refunds will not be known until May 31st. Adjusting for these items, what looks like slow net revenue growth of 2.8% on a cash year basis is actually good growth on a fiscal year basis, with growth through March of 4.8%, right at the REC expected rate for the full years. There are two additional items adding to the unpredictability of the final few months of fiscal year 2019. First, the federal income tax reductions enacted in December of 2017 have reached their 1-year anniversary, and the extra year-over-year boost to state income tax withholding that results from federal income tax deductibility has passed. Because of this, what has been good withholding growth is expected to slow in the second half of fiscal year 2019. Second, the significant impact of state tax legislation enacted in 2018 is just beginning to impact Iowa's tax revenue stream. Income tax reductions began with the lowering of state withholding this past January, and sales tax revenue increases also began at the same time. The negative impact on income tax is expected to be higher than the positive impact on sales tax revenue for the rest of fiscal year 2019. In summary, and after including the described adjustments, year-to-date net revenue growth through March is about $235 million, and the rate of growth is just at the REC projection of 4.8% for the entire fiscal year. With the tax year 2018 return season underway, with the continued uncertainty of the impact of last year's federal tax changes on Iowa's revenue stream, and with the state revenue changes enacted in 2018, tracking net general fund revenue growth will be more difficult than usual until all the tax year 2018 individual income tax returns are filed and refunds issued. Thank you, goodbye, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early May.